everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today I'm going to be talking about Lexis Practice Advisor, and I would like to thank Lexis Nexis Canada for sponsoring this video. This is the second of the videos that we have planned for you to help you get through law school. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So what is Lexis Practice Advisor? Well, it's basically like an online practical resource or practical tool to help with kind of the more transactional legal matters, so like drafting contracts. Lexis Practice Advisor has a ton of resources that you can use to kind of help and guide you through certain transactions. So there are standard forms and checklists, there's precedents, and there's even how-to guides. And all of the information that's on Lexis Practice Advisor has been contributed by leading experts in those areas of the law, so you know that you're getting kind of the best information that there is. Some of the practice areas that are covered include like family law, business law, commercial law, there's wills, estates, and trusts, personal injury, intellectual property law, and there's even more than that. There's so many different areas of the law that are on there that you can get information and resources about. Lexis Practice Advisor is really great if you are new to a particular area of the law, like us students, or if you just haven't practiced it in a while and you kind of want to brush up on your knowledge and be updated with everything that's happened since the last time you practiced. So for example, if you wanted to draft a contract, like an employment contract, you can go on to Lexis Practice Advisor and it will kind of tell you all the steps that you need to take, so the information that you need to get. There's like a checklist for all the things that should be included. There's draft clauses, which I feel like is amazing. If you've ever tried to draft some kind of clause for something, it's so difficult. So to have like templates for you is perfect. Another thing that I find really cool and actually so helpful is the news section. So if you go on to Lexis Practice Advisor, there's like a section with news under whatever particular area of the law that you are looking at. So if you're looking at like family law, there's a news section. And it actually shows you all of the recent updates to that particular area of the law. It shows you like recent cases, like any news that you would need to know if you're practicing in that area. Without this tool, you would actually have to go out and find this information yourself. You'd have to like read every single news story. So I think this news section is actually such a cool idea, and you can subscribe to it too, which is even better. So you actually will always be up to date without having to put in like any effort whatsoever. So you can save time to do other things instead of going out and figuring out what's new. Like, it will just tell you, which is amazing. As a student, you can also save a ton of time with Lexis Practice Advisor. You might get tasked with something that you have never had to do before and you don't know what to do. So you can go on Lexis Practice Advisor and it will tell you like everything that you need to do for a certain transaction. There's a how-to guide, there's standard forms, like templates for things, and it just saves you so much time because you don't have to actually research all of these things, like to figure out what has to be included in an employment contract, or what forms you have to fill out, or what legislation applies. Like, you can just go on there and everything is there for you. So a lot of the work has been done by these lawyers who contributed to Lexis Practice Advisor. So it really saves like a ridiculous amount of time that you just don't have to take, because you don't have to try and figure out this area of the law that you don't really know that much about. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to research the area of employment law. So this is one of kind of the many topics that you can actually look into. So this is like all of them, like there's so many. Here's the topics listed here. So I'm gonna go to commencing the employment relationship. This has like, look at all the things that you can do. So I'm going to employment contracts. Here we have like practice notes. So what is an employment contract? The types of employment contracts, like all these little tidbits of information just to kind of give you a background to that particular area of the law. Then there's precedents. So these are like, here's a letter of offer. It's like a short form version. So it's kind of like a template. So you don't even have to like figure it out yourself. Then there's checklists and diagrams. So here's an employment agreement checklist. So here are all the things that you kind of have to include, and that's the person who contributed it to Lexis Practice Advisor. So there's conditions attached, there's consideration, like this is all of the information that you would need to get and all of the things that you would want to include in an employment contract. So it's literally like all there for you. You can literally just go through each one by one and like check it off. It's the least amount of effort that you could put into trying to figure out how to draft an employment agreement. And then there's sample clauses. This is what I was talking about before. So I think this is like such a cool feature because trying to draft a clause is very, very difficult. There's like so many different ones. Conflict of interest, expenses, independent legal advice. Here's moving expenses. So here's like a little sample of a kind of clause that you might put in with regards to moving expenses. So you can kind of use that as a template for the contract that you're drafting to help you kind of figure out exactly what you're supposed to be talking about in it and what it should look like. So as you can see, there's so much information on there with respect to just, for that example, employment contracts that can help you figure out how to draft one yourself. For my business organizations class this past semester, we had to draft share provisions. And let me tell you, it is very difficult to draft clauses yourself. For that particular topic, you can actually go on the Government of Canada website and it has information about how to draft these for the Articles of Incorporation, and it has templates. But not every area of the law has that. Most, in fact, don't. Like, there isn't typically a website that you can go to that tells you exactly what you need, and not one that you can necessarily trust. So this is super helpful because Lexis Practice Advisor has all of that stuff for you. So you don't even have to worry about it. Everything is there for you and you're good to go. Another way that you can use Lexis Practice Advisor as a student is to help you study for your exams. So in that same class, business organizations, we had to know about limited liability partnerships. So if you go onto Lexis Practice Advisor, there's actually a practice note for limited liability partnerships to kind of give you a little bit of background on it. I don't know that I would recommend just using that to study. Obviously, every professor kind of wants you to focus on different things, but if you need some clarity on a topic, if you need just kind of a little bit more information or maybe just a different phrasing of something your professor said, you can go on there and it's kind of a great way to clarify your understanding. And in practice, like a practice note like that would be perfect to just kind of refresh your memory and to get you on the right track for what you're going to be doing. Another thing that I find really helpful is that Lexis Practice Advisor shows you the applicable legislation for each topic. That is so useful because if you are working in a particular area, you might have no idea what legislation applies. There's probably multiples. And if you go on there, it actually will show you all of the legislation that pertains to it. So for business law, it will show you the Canadian Business Corporations Act and the Ontario Business Corporations Act. And then another thing is if there's forms related to a topic, those are also included. So if we look here, this is under family law for Ontario. There's a resources section here and there's court forms. Like there's a few different other ones too, but the one I'm specifically gonna look at is court forms. So for family law especially, there's so many different forms that are applicable, and here's like all of them. So every single form that you could possibly need is on here, which is super helpful. So here's an application for divorce, and here's the form, and you can download it in a Word document, you can download it in PDF form. It's perfect if you need that form for some kind of work that you're doing. Another really neat feature of Lexis Practice Advisor is the Skills Center. So there's a bunch here of different skills that you can work on, like practical skills. So here's presentation skills. Every lawyer basically needs to have good presentation skills. So here's like all different things like preparation, connecting with your audience, body language, performance anxiety. Like there's information on each of those. And then there's little checklists and flow charts. I mean, who doesn't want a flow chart for how to help your presentation skills? But it really is super helpful. Like it's just such a practical tool. You know, in law school, we learn a lot about different areas of the law, but you don't get a lot of practical experience. You don't learn what it's actually like to work in that area, like what forms you have to know how to fill out, what legislation applies. Like that requires experience to know exactly what things to include in an employment contract. If you've never done one before, you might have no idea. So it's just a really great practical tool that you can use to kind of help you navigate through a new area of the law, something that's unfamiliar or something that you haven't dealt with in a while. It really does provide you kind of the practical tools and the practical knowledge that you might not otherwise get in law school. And I think it's such a great tool to use and to kind of get familiar with while you're in law school, because it really is going to help you in the future. So I hope that you guys will take a minute and go on to Lexis Practice Advisor and actually like try it out and see for yourself all of the different resources that are on it. Canadian law students actually get free access to Lexis Practice Advisor. At the beginning of the year, if you signed up for Lexis Advanced Quick Law, then you should have gotten some credentials to help you access Lexis Practice Advisor. So go check back through your inbox and look for that email that has your credentials. If you can't find it, then you can just contact customer care and they'll help you get started. You can also visit lexisnexis.ca/law schools if you're interested in learning more and you want to get some more information about Lexis Practice Advisor. I hope that this will help you kind of navigate a new area of the law and show everyone that you kind of know what's up. Let me know in the comments below and let everyone else know what you use Lexis Practice Advisor for, if you've ever used it, or what you think is the coolest feature about it. And thank you again to Lexis Nexis Canada for sponsoring this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!